Hey, Marcia.
I worked with a rabbi for a year who I miss him so much. He was the best punster. And I really have a deep appreciation for puns. And he would pull them out of the air before services so that I started with trying to sing and I'm laughing. He would pull them out mid services and just so quietly, nobody could hear them but me, but like my sense of it's such a deep appreciation that I can't let a good pun go without a laugh. So I was so often leading services like
You were his best audience.
Yes. When I wrote, they asked me to write a letter to the potential rabbis as part of the application. And I didn't know, they didn't tell me how long the letter was going to be. So it was originally a very long letter and then they narrowed it down. They're like, oh no, we only have this much space. Oh, well, you could have told me that. But anyhow, so in it, I talked about my appreciation of puns. And I said, especially, if you find yourself to be very punny, you definitely want to be here. I will be your biggest fan. Mary Ellen, are you still there?
I am. I'm on. I'm taking this out onto the website now and posting to Facebook the live stream links. So
remind me later. No, I'm gonna forget. So I'm just gonna tell you now in front of everybody. So there's a host on MSNBC named Ali Velshi.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something very funny this morning, and Ian said, "That's what Velshi said."
Oh my God.
It was so good. And I said, and that's why we're so perfect together.
That's funny.
Okay.
That's what Velshi said.
That's what Velshi said.
She needs to change her name to Bert.
What, Marcia?
She needs to change her name to Bert.
To burp?
Velshi.
Oh, it's a guy. And it's a Velshi with a V. He's actually Canadian. Canadian, Ali Velshi. So, throwing it out there for Charlie. Next month, I think I told you, next month when it's Blake's bar mitzvah, we're going to have a Zoom full of Canadians, all from Toronto, zooming in. It's going to be a Canada party.
What's the Canadian connection?
My mom is from Toronto.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. So, and her father was one of 14 children. So we have aunties and uncles and cousins all over the place. And there are certain neighborhoods like in Thornhill or whatever, where we have, there's certain neighborhoods where there's an aunt and an uncle on each street, depending on where you are.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. You are live streaming.
Okay.
To YouTube. So you are co-host, I'm host. I'll leave mine open so you can see everybody on your screen. And I am sending out one screen.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. We're happy to see you this morning. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
And I am going to mute everybody and turn this over to the cantor. So,
oh, they can mute themselves. They're fine. They know what to do.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because y'all say things together too here, right?
We're good. Don't worry.
I'm muting myself.
We're all muted anyways. All right. Give me a moment. Oh, we have Mara with us this morning. Yay! All right, my friends. So we're going to head over to page 74 for Matovu. It's a small crew this morning. I'm trying to think of what I can get away with, which Matovu, Matovu. Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Shkenotecha Yisrael. Ani beror pastecha, avoitecha, Eshtachvi elecha. Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Shkenotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti mi'oinitecha, Kol mishkan vodecha, ani ashkavei mi'Ephraim, Evrecha lifnei Adonai usi. Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Ohalecha Yaakov, Shkenotecha Yisrael, Shkenotecha Yisrael, Shkenotecha Yisrael. Right, let's take it over to page 77, the middle of the page. Would anyone like to read Don't Let Me Fall? Go ahead and unmute. Go ahead, Sheila. Oh, Marsha.
All right, I'll read it.
Go ahead, Marsha, and then Sheila, I'll get you on the next one.
Don't let me fall as a stone falls upon the hard ground. And don't let my hands become dry as the twigs of the tree when the wind beats down the last leaves. And when the storm raises dust from the earth with anger and howling, don't let me become the last fly trembling terrified on a window pane. Don't let me fall. I have asked for so much. But as a blade of your grass in a distant wild field lets drop a seed in the lap of the earth and dies away, sow in me your living breath as you sow a seed in the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei kol basar u'machli la'asot.
Thank you. Let's head over to the next page for Elohai Neshama. Elohai, Elohai Neshama, Shenatati Tehorai, Tapirata, Atayitzata, Atanifatari, Liata Mishamra, Mishamra Bikirbi. Elohai, Elohai Neshama, Shenatati Tehorai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lesechvi bina lehafchim ben yom uben layla.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokei achivrihi.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asuri.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokeh kefufihim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokach haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam amechin mitzadei gaber.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam mabisharuni.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'ayef koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shina me'enai u'una me'afafai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shatzani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani ba'chorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shatzani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvula.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otei Yisrael b'tifarah.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Head over to Elud Devarim. Sheila, would you read for us on 88? These are things. Oh, me. Yep.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world. While the principle remains in the world to come, they are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Thank you. All right. Let's head over to actually I'm just feeling inspired to go and read something. Go over to page 93. And in the middle of the page, there's this reading, prayer gives us the guidance. Ed, would you read that for us?
Thank you. Prayer gives us the guidance we need. It opens the mind to the illumination of God. The prophets made their whole life an act of prayer, so they received the inspiration of God. Our humbler minds, standing much below the heights in which they stood, receiving for the most part only a reflected illumination, may now and then be climbing a little higher, catch a glimpse of the direct light. Through prayer, we can receive the guidance of God to strengthen our hold on truth, goodness and righteousness, and purity, which are the laws for humanity emanating from the nature of God.
Thank you. And let us turn over to page 100 to praise God with the words of Psalm 150. Hallelujah, 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 bekosho, hallelujah, bekihavzo, hallelujah, benurotav, hallelujah, terror of good love. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, take a shofar. Hallelujah, never let me know. Hallelujah, tough my for. Hallelujah, minim leuga. Hallelujah,
b'tziltzalei shana. Hallelujah b'tziltzalei trua. Kol shana tehallelujah. Kol shana tehallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
106. Yitgadav, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah. Yamadim Rachrutev, Yamlich Mahutev. B'chaychon v'yomechon v'chayidecho Beit Yisrael. B'hagalav v'zerman kariv. V'yimeru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach. Le'olam u'lamim Almaya Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitali v'yitala Shmei Dekudsha. B'richu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata. Dush b'chata v'nechemata. Damirani alema v'meru amen. Let us rise for our call to prayer. Page 108. Baruch et Adonai, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or v'rei choshen. Say shalom, shalom, v're'atakom. Yotzer or v'rei choshen. Say shalom, shalom, v're'atakom. The top of page 111. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of Language and Light, help us to use words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hameorot. Page 112, how deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah.
בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראת שמך, ולא נבוש, ולא נקלים, ולא נקשים, לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול הנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה ישועתך.
And at the bottom of the page, the indented paragraph, gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people, Israel, in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
All right, let's be seated. And I had a picture in my mind of when I first arrived here, and we were working together with the band, and anytime it was Va'ed where you would Va. It just made me think of it at that moment. Okay, let's look at the V'ahavta on page 116. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha ha'bereitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam lehot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtartam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, ואני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 119 at the top. If people fall, can they not also rise? If they break away, can they not return? The stork in the sky knows when to migrate. The dove and the swallow know the season of return. What human instinct knows the time to turn back? What cue sparks the conscience of the soul? We pray to sense this day anew, attuned to the call of sacred living. And on page 121, Marcia, would you read responsively with me the eternal truth?
My pleasure.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High, blessed. Oh, sorry. Let's say it together. Blessed is God, deserving of blessing. Thank you so much, Marcia. Micha Mocha 122. You must know. It's just have the giggles.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטר בקודש. נורתי לו עושה פלא, נורתי לו עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. שירה חדשה שיפרו גאולים, ושם נחש שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטר בקודש. נורתי לו עושה פלא, נורתי לו עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדכן אומרך יהודה וישראל. גולנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. אדוני שפתי תפתח ויגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim ve'konei hakol, וזוכר חסדי האבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Before we go on to the Kedusha on page 129, you are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the door frame, I begin to enter into your glory. You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions. Waiting to be posed, they filled me with wonder. Sit with me, Eternal Teacher, encourage my seeking. As I fill my hours with your mitzvot, so shall I be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, enriching myself in the giving. Baruch atah Adonai noteya betochenu chaye olam. Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני הקדוש. Let's be seated and turn to the middle of page 132. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני עולים בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ויום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Page 135. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Over on page 137. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve and have reverence. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. And on the following page, Modim anachnu lach. Sha'atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu le'olam va'ed. Sur chayenu, magen yish'enu atahu l'dor vador. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, compassionate one whose kindness never fails, forever we put our hope in you. And at the bottom of the page, for all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. And we turn over to page 140 for Sim Shalom.
Sim shalom, tova ubracha, chen chesed rachamim verachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael anecha, varchinu yotzreinu kulanu ke'echad, ve'or panecha, ki ve'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Sim shalom, tova ubracha, chen chesed rachamim verachamim aleinu, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך, תורת חיים יחלת חסד, ויחלת חסד, וצדקה ורחמים, וחיים ושלום. שים שלום, תודה וברכה, חיים החסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך, שטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, יפוי טוב שעה בשלומך. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חיים החסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך.
At the top of page 141. We oughtn't pray for what we've never known and humanity has never known. Unbroken peace, unmixed blessing. No. Better to pray for pity, for indignation, discontent, the will to see and touch, the power to do good and make new. Baruch atah Adonai hamarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. And let's take a moment now for a silent prayer.
Say shalom imroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, Yaakov Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
very serious question. Do we require a Torah service this morning? I can always take out the Torah. It's not a problem. But I don't have to take out the Torah. There's 5 of us here. Here, unmute. Let's have a conversation about it.
To me, it's not necessary.
And you and Mara are the only ones who didn't go to Torah study. So we discussed this already today. And by the way, Cantor, thank you for the comment about the ed part. And what I love about our Saturday morning group is we do laugh. And that's what makes it so special. Our services, when we laugh, we just don't do a service.
I wasn't here last week because I was sitting in the car dealership with water pouring between my door of my car.
Oh my goodness. So
My son thought it was, I had left a water bottle in the back of the car, but when he opened it, the car was dry, but my door sounded like a fish tank.
Oh, goodness. You know what I'd love to do actually, the readings on page 143. The readings, so these are, meditations for us during silent prayer. And I'm kind of struck by them because, and we'll take a moment. Me personally, this particular page has been so important to me for however long we've had this prayer book. So I don't remember what year I started using it. It might have been 08, 09, something like that. But this particular page has been so important, and it has changed at different times in my life which of those readings I needed. Sometimes, so in my 30s, it was the one on the bottom of the page. Now I'm in my 40s, it tends to be the one at the top of the page. And so let's take a moment. Can we read them out loud? Would anyone mind?
What are you going to do when you're 50?
I'm going to have to find a new page, Marcia.
When I do the services, when you're not here, I always do before the silent meditation, the holy one. Right?
I love that one.
Would you read it out? Would you read it out loud?
Oh, sure. Be happy to. Holy One, give me a quiet heart and help me to hear the still small voice that speaks within me. It calls me to come close to you and to grow in your likeness. It teaches me to do my work faithfully, even when no one's eye is upon me. It counsels me to judge others kindly and to love them freely, for it persuades me to see divinity in everyone I meet. Help me, O God, to come to the end of each day feeling that I used its gifts wisely and faced its trials bravely.
Now let's read the one on the bottom. Who will read that? Marcia, you want to read it?
Sure.
Sheila, okay.
Sheila, go ahead.
I need strength, humility, courage, patience. Strength to control my passions, humility to assess my own worth, courage to rise above defeats, patience to cleanse myself of imperfections, and wisdom to learn and live by our sacred teachings. Let me not be discouraged by my failings. Let me take heart from all that is good and noble in my character. Keep me from falling victim to cynicism. Teach me sincerity and enthusiasm. Endow me with perception and courage that I may serve others with compassion and love.
Do you see the differences in those two? I mean, obviously there's similarity, right?
Yeah.
But there are some real differences there. Does anyone want to talk? Otherwise, I'm going to just start talking. So the reading on the bottom, I have to control my passion. To me, it's like what I see there is all these inner struggles, so much inner. Help me calm that down and pull it apart to make sense of what's there, to really understand, who am I? Am I acting appropriately in my reactions to other people? let me not be discouraged by my failings. I'm doing all of these things out in the world. How do I make sense of them? How can I look at them in a healthy way? The one at the top is how I need to be quiet now. For me, I worked on all of those things. That was my struggle. And now I need to be quiet so that I can put all those pieces where they need to go. And it helps. So I find that there's a lot of, right, keep me from falling victim to cynicism. All of these things in the world are affecting the way I feel on the inside. On the top, let me put everything together on the inside so that what I put out is fair and free and looking at and being open to the divinity of other people. So that's why and I could be reading so much into this, but that's for me at those different times in my life where I felt that I needed to find different control to be able to deal with the world around me. And depending on what those things were and how I was reacting to them, one of these readings would help me find that focus that I needed to be able to kind of like regroup and look at a situation. Can't tell how to, there are a lot of situations that come up all the time, right? So it was a matter of reflecting on Shabbat. My goodness, each situation that came at me, you know, did I listen to that still small voice? Did I look for the divinity of other people? Did I recognize in those moments what may have been happening for them? Was I able to judge them kindly? Could I love that? You know, it's we need these constant reminders, right? And I have a friend who actually loves the one on the bottom so much that she printed it up and had it framed and had it hanging so that she could look at it all the time and say, okay, God, give me that. I need to control my passions. I need to put myself in check here, you know, and that's why, you know, these prayers are here because we need those daily reminders.
What is interesting is it's not mentioned who wrote these. You don't know.
It's at the back of the book. So, but they're not rubbing your face in it, right? But if you come to, so there's the source citations, Shabbat morning 1, so page 143.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay.
Oh, so Chaim Stern, who was he was the original one who wrote the Gates of Repentance. Chaim Stern was one of the editors. He also
I love that book.
He also wrote the one that I do on Friday nights, before Micha Mocha, where the doors are closed, let us pry the door open. That's also Chaim Stern. And then the I Need Strength, I don't know who Robert Kahn is, but those are on, so at the back of the book, it attributes, so we get the authors of each one of the meditations and readings in there, but I always love the Chaim Stern.
I have a thought about these two. It seems, I mean, they're both very powerful paragraphs. They really say a lot, and they say a lot to you personally, but to me anyway. And I find that the top one is more into a matter of self-reflection, and the bottom one is almost in a matter of action.
Yes.
This is why
That one reminds me almost of the Serenity Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that one.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I read this before we go into silent meditation. When I do the
read
service,
that too. I read
puts
this
us
one.
in that mode.
Mm-hmm.
Might want to throw one or two or both of these in at different times on Friday night services because people don't know what they're missing.
So the one on the bottom is in the Friday night service. I included it in there. I don't read it out loud. I gave it as one of the silent reflections for, actually they're both there on page 15 of my Friday night service. I took both of the readings from this page and put them in for people to be able to choose which one they might want to read during silent prayer. But we certainly could go ahead and read them aloud. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what I felt was really missing from all the previous renditions of my at-home service. I said, I am missing page 143. I can't do this service without page 143. And I have it open before I go in to play Oseh Shalom or Yehi Ratzon, whatever it is. I'm taking a moment. Sometimes I read one of them. Sometimes I need both of them.
I read both.
Right? Why not? Because they really are. Actually, the conversation this week has been around allergies, and we've been talking about the different. I promise I'm going somewhere. So doctors are recommending, for those of us who suffer from this like allergy, bronchitis, asthma mixture thingy. Doctors are recommending, and it took them decades to figure this one out, 3 different allergy medications at the same time to do like a Flonase nasal spray, Singulair, and then either Zyrtec or Claritin for the antihistamine. And the reason is they're all taking care of the allergy, but they're coming at it from different directions and working in unison together to give a full coverage for your body to be able to block the antihistamine.
Isn't what these 2 meditations do?
Yeah, they're all allergy medications, but they're affecting your body differently.
I'm thinking in terms of these meditations as well. Don't they do the same thing spiritually?
Exactly. So that's exactly what I meant. That these 2 meditations, that was my ear. But yes, these 2 meditations, they're both trying to address our soul, our well-being, and how we relate with the world. But one is kind of helping us. It's not building a bubble, but it's helping us protect what's coming out from us and affecting other people. And then it's coming from the inside, how to help a balm on the soul, help us hear that still small voice within us, help us from the inside be able to be whole, so that when we're in contact with other people, we're able to control those passions. So yes, we're asking for help coming from the outside and also coming from the inside, but in effect to do the same thing. So that's where I was going with the allergy medication.
And I keep, when I see the first meditation, I keep remembering what the late heavy-duty Quaker and Holocaust survivor Ursula Franklin said one time. The world looks very different when every person is a holy place.
Without a doubt.
Very poignant.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
You know, and that kind of takes us back to the reading on the page before, on 141, that I read. We oughtn't pray for what we've never known and humanity has never known, unbroken peace, unmixed blessing. We don't have that yet. That doesn't exist. Like what was the wording you used exactly, Charlie, just now?
I don't know. Ursula Franklin said, when every person is a holy place, the world looks so different.
Right. So we haven't experienced that yet, but we know we need to get there. Right? Because that's going to be until we see the divinity in everyone, until we see that everyone is a holy space, we're not going to be able to have that perfection. So here in this prayer on 141, it says, we're not even there yet. We have to pray for people to experience, to have the empathy, the pity, indignation, discontent. We need to open people's eyes for them to see that that it's not there yet. We're not there. So until people's eyes are open, they can feel for other people, they won't be able to recognize the divinity in other people. So it's another,
Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Which comes first, the empathy or seeing that of God in other people?
Yeah,
comes first.
that's a good question.
I think you have to have the empathy first. Right? Without being able to have the feels, how can you recognize
What they're feeling.
Or seeing that of God in ourselves first before seeing it in others.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And then that can go two ways, right? Because you have to have that balance to not turn yourself into a God,
Right.
and end up with the problems that we had in, discussing the what we were talking about earlier in Torah study.
Oh, Jean, I thought you wouldn't recognize me.
Is that what the G stands for?
Touche.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's a process. Spiritual growth and understanding humanity is certainly a process, and we've been in it for thousands of years. It's obviously going to take a while longer. It doesn't mean we can't pray for it to happen more swiftly than it probably will. On that note, we're going to turn our thoughts to those who are in need of healing. And let's see. Ed, were you there last night? Were you with us last? You were, right? So I read this beautiful poem. Should I read it? I mean, I think it was just Marcia who wasn't with us last night. But
Okay.
Alden Salavi published a poem just very, very recently about our losses around COVID and the idea of counting, and how God counts in heaven as we count here on earth these many, many souls, and how we struggle to make sense of it. It's beautiful, and I can send it to you, Marcia, if you'd like to see it.
Thank you.
It's really magnificent. But let's turn over to page 253 for the Misha Berach. Misha Berach, Avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham Yitzchak ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, ve'Leah. Hu yivarech et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. So on our Misha Berach list this morning, I'm going to read it as quickly as I can, but I know we have some friends joining us remotely just through the live stream. We're especially thinking of Carol Babcock, Rosalie Teddy Bono, Peggy Saren Clark, Tom Davis, Devorah Bat Rachel, the Elkin family of Southern California, Howard Enzel, Art Fields, Deborah Gunn, Alan Halperin, Margaret Hare, Mary Hartman, Robert Kay, Janet Kennedy, Mike Klitinick, Marilyn Levitt, Teresa Levy, Barbara McDonald, Gary Nadler, Naomi Nagel, David Osofsky, Laura Osofsky, Buddy Pollock, Jean Posen, Joyce Racklin, Randall Rout, Sandra Resnikoff, Alex Rosen, Stephanie Sibilia, Judy Shea, Ruthie Silver, Ron Sohn, Brinley Stanridge, Micah Stanridge, Bernice Tobias, Ruth Van Alstine, Judy Van Gorder, Dan Weinstock, Todd Zetlin. And if you have names to add this morning, let's go ahead and unmute yourself and share now. Sheila, yeah.
Yeah, Lori Kurland and Lisa Emanuel and Mary Ellen Hathaway.
What's the matter with Mary Ellen?
She's on the men. She's on the men. But
What happened?
she said it was like a bronchitis, but now it's a laryngitis, but we're getting there. It's why my allergy medication is on the brain.
How about Jim Grant in our Torah study?
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. All right, so Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yimelei Rachamim Aleichem Lahachalimam Ularapotam Ulachachazikam V'yishlach lehem mihira refuah shlema min hashamayim refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf hashta bagala v'zman kariv v'nomar amen. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say amen. Mi shebeirach avoteinu kor habracha limorteinu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say amen. Mi shebeirach imoteinu kor habracha lamorteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say amen. Let's head over now to page 282 for the Elenu, and let's rise. I'll go ahead and open the ark. Aleinu l'shabbat Adon hakol, l'teikenu v'yotzeh b'reishit, shelo atzanu tiglyei ha'aratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu karam, ve'gohor aleinu kecho hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and be seated because I am going to read this whole list out loud. Oh, goodness. 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth. Our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This Shabbat, we're especially thinking of Carol Brody, whose family is observing the week of Shiva. We're concluding Shloshim for Arnold Kor, but we are in the period of Shloshim now for Anna Elenoff and Frederick Enzel. In this Shabbat, we observe the yahrzeit of Francis Zabofsky, Hortense Arno, Stanley Baer, Esther Blumenthal, Pat Bajorian, Joseph M. Carlin, Fanny Evans, Paul Figura, Mark Finkel, Herman Foster, Bessie Freundlich, Sarah G. Glickstein, Sam T. Green, Bertie Himes Greenwood, Natalie Glickstein-Haas, Teresa Hamowitz, Ellis Hardy, J. Henry Hildebrand, Dr. Joseph Honickman, Carol Hurahan, Ben Jenkins, Norman Katz, Marlene J. Nieberg, Dina Kossoff, Jacqueline Michael Meiselman, Harriet Mills, Ingrid Moss, Neil Fletcher Portnoy, Ben Rosenberg, Ann Sanders, Shirley Shaffier, Robert Duke Seidman, Abraham Simon, Marjorie Spivak Stone, Alan Tucker, Ethel L. Young. Does anyone else have a name to share this morning? Okay, so then for all those whom we've named aloud and those who we hold dear in our hearts, let us rise together as a community to extol God's name with the words of Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'al mei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Let us be seated once more. And let's head over this morning to page 322 for Ein Kelohinu.
Ein Kelohenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kimalkinu, Ein Kimoshienu, Mich Elohenu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Malkeinu, Mich Moshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
All right, let's unmute. Marcia, do you have our Kiddush wine this morning? Fantastic.
Good for you.
Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. Baruch atah
Adonai,
Eloheinu
Olam, Hi,
L'chaim.
take a sip.
I would love it. It would feel good on my throat right about now.
Yeah.
And who's got the challah? Do we have the challah? Oh, she's got everything. Thank goodness. You know what? It's bread. It works. Baruch atah
Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Teavon. Thank you.
That was one I baked 2 weeks ago.
I love it.
Okay.
In my
Put it
office, I have an Irish soda bread. And if Ian were here, he could do for you the motzi with an adorable Irish accent.
I baked that also.
I like sourdough bread.
Another week and a half, I'll be baking that and commemorating St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
We put a Vitz on the end, it becomes Jewish.
Patrick.
Right.
I love it. Well, listen.
It is what it is.
We celebrate as much. We just celebrate.
We just celebrate everything. Why not?
Why not? Why not?
For a party.
Why not?
Pause for celebration. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
everyone.
shalom. Have a
everybody.
good week. Stay well.
Thank you.
Stay
Thank you.
healthy.
Yep.
You guys rock. Thank you.
Bye, Charlie.
Nice seeing
Charlie.
you,
Good seeing
Charlie.
you again. Have a good week.
Same.
Have a good week, everybody.
You too. See you soon.
Just cleaning up my stuff. All right, cool.